All right. All right, so it's 7:05, and did we have anyone able to take notes for today?
I'll do
Anyone
it,
here?
but I need a minute. But I do need a minute to set up the Word documents to take notes. So
All right,
talk amongst yourselves. Give me just 1 minute here.
How to switch backgrounds as well to the proper national
ooh,
park.
Oh,
which one is that? I like it.
Yellowstone.
Yellow,
yeah.
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone.
Jelly,
Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
the shirt.
Jellystone.
Hey, boo boo.
Mm. Okay, I am ready as your note taker.
Thank you.
Thank you for your patience.
Thank you for doing it last moment. All right, so the first thing is on the agenda is the approval of the August 2nd meeting minutes. Did everyone have a chance to
Madam-
read these?
Madam President, I've gone over the minutes a couple of times. I don't see any corrections. I move that the minutes for August 2nd Zoom meeting be approved.
Gabe seconds.
All in favor?
I
All right, motion
Abstain.
passes.
Abstain.
Oh.
I wasn't there.
All right. I guess I wasn't there either, so I probably shouldn't have voted.
Does not mean you cannot vote.
I read them. I approved what I read.
Exactly.
All right. Okay, for the treasurer's report, Russell texted me this late afternoon and said that he would send them along in a few days. So with that, we move on to website and social media updates.
I'll take that. It's been very calm. Just fielding everything after the changes for the not changes, but for the oh gosh, the board stuff. I had put that up for the board positions last month. I think that came in the last meeting too, but I wasn't here, so sorry. But so that's still currently on the website. And as far as the Facebook page goes, it's been pretty even keeled and quiet. And we're just trying to keep up with the new members. We still are steadily growing, which is a good thing to see, and people getting involved locally.
Gabe, we didn't put a post specifically for vacant board positions yet, did we?
No, I only put it
Okay.
on the website.
Okay. I'll make a note to do that. And there's this new cool feature on Facebook. As a moderator, you can post anonymously. Actually, anyone can post anonymously, but when I don't, people get tired of seeing the same stuff from me. That way I can post anonymously as an admin. So that's kind of helps make it look like we have more active people posting than just me and Gabe and or a handful of other people. So I will make a note to myself to do that here.
All right. I noticed that when you first go on to the Summit Waller Facebook page, there's a long, when you look at the page, it shows our picture, and then you have to press more to get the additional information. So it starts talking about how we need a board member or meetings. I can't remember how it starts without looking at the page, but it welcomes people, and then it has a whole wealth of all kinds of updated information, but you have to sit there and scroll down or press more to be able to see it. So I was wondering if we could maybe chunk some of that and put it in different posts so that people
Are you talking about the
see
Facebook page or the website?
the Facebook page.
Okay.
Well, I think it kind of depends on if you're looking at it either on a PC or a phone, a mobile device, that changes your view a little bit. Because when I look at it, I don't see the same thing as you do.
You don't.
I see, like, we have a couple of featured announcements that there's a couple that kind of we scroll through the months, but that's what I see first, and then it just goes right into people's posts after that.
Okay, so mine says announcements, and I can see the upcoming meetings and events.
Mhm.
And then it talks about when our next meeting is, and then it says a Zoom agenda items to include prepping for the upcoming meeting with and then it says more. And so to see anything else, including the board position, the adopter road, or anything, attending, you cannot see that without the Waller Road Neighborhood Watch meeting canceled. All of those things, you have to scroll way down to get any of them.
Oh, I see. Yeah, on that first post. Yeah, it's because it's a long post. Yeah.
So I was just thinking we should break those up and if you wanted to use your anonymous to break those up into little pieces so that people will see them. And I could write some too. I'd be willing to write the adopter road and.
Well, I'll have to think about that. Because it's one post intended to let people know all the meetings and events in the area. So it is a long post in that it has our meeting, Waller Road Neighborhood Watch, the Adopter Road, Grange meetings, and links to other stuff. I mean, we could post them separately, but then that tends to clutter up the kind of the activity and the number of posts that people have to scroll through, and not everyone sees every post.
Right.
So somebody might catch the Waller Road one, but then miss the Waller Road Grange one, or they might see ours, but then they may not see the Adopter Road. So
Right.
I guess this way they can.
It's a pinned post. So even if it was a quarter of the size, it would still, because if you're looking on a phone through the app, it's still going to truncate it, and then you're going to start to say see more, no matter what we do. So regardless, because it's a pinned one, if we don't pin it, people are absolutely going to be asking, when's this, when's that? And it's kind of a hard balance between, yeah, you have to scroll past it, but at least you have the important information at the top instead of having to try to weed through the entire string of random posts between members and admins.
So I don't think we should change that. I'm just thinking though, if somebody's first impression is going to be that it's all about the meeting, and if they want to know more about meetings, they're going to look at it, and that they're going to, if they don't want to know about meetings, then they're not, and then they're going to miss anything else. That was my only concern.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to keeping it there or removing it. That's what it comes down to.
No, I think we should
yeah.
keep it. I just think we should add, when we have Adopt a Road, that we just need to keep adding events that come up.
Right, we do that, but I'm just saying that post is pinned, so it always appears at the top,
Right.
no matter what. So if we have to remove it, to remove that from taking up space at the top, or we keep it up there, and because no matter what, it's still going to show the same amount of show more. It just means that there's more to show.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, like when the Waller Road, the Adopter Road comes up, I usually do a separate post, or like just like a, hey, here's a reminder if you're interested in joining, or I'll make it an actual event, which I believe goes to all the members. So there's kind of more than one way to publicize an upcoming event.
What if we added see below for the following? Like we just changed that first part that people see so that they know they need to
we
scroll
can't
down
change
for
that.
additional. Oh, you can't change
Yeah,
it.
that's Facebook's own thing. Yeah. Once it's a certain number of characters, we have no control over how the app works. So that's why I was saying we either have to remove it altogether or or keep it there. One of the two. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, questions answered.
And I could maybe, instead of it just saying FYI, upcoming meetings and events in our area, maybe I can just put in parentheses, click on this post to see them all, or click here to see the whole post, or make sure you scroll to the bottom or something like that. Maybe we can do that for those that have the same impression that you do when you look at it. So
Yeah, a link to the post might actually work. Yeah.
Okay.
So I will make a note. I see John joined us. John, I started keeping minutes. So if you want, I can just continue since I'm on a roll already, or you can take over. What would you prefer, John?
Take it away.
All right.
Okay, moving on to number 5 on the agenda. So Orange Gate Park and Pipeline Trail updates. Larry reported 19 volunteer hours and Scott Bird put in 3 hours. Was there anything to add to that?
Yeah, I got several things to add to that.
Right.
First of all, 19 hours is not something that I can sustain. The Labor Day weekend was horrible as far as illegal dumping, illegal activity in the woods. I already have 9 hours so far this month. The effort that I put in over the weekend, I'm still paying for it as far as sore muscles and all that. So I'm going to be limiting myself to less time out there. I also would like everyone to know that starting Thursday, the 8th through the 21st, we will be out of town in Florida visiting relatives. I have no idea what the condition of Orange Gate's going to be when I get back. I have text Steve Dippery from the Parks Department outlining the situation. The illegal sexual activity that is occurring in the southern half of the North 40, that would be the southern half that borders 84th Street, is getting worse. I just cleaned out another sex site today. And I have neighbors that have been stopping and talking with me while I'm out and about around Orange Gate. They're noticing this illegal activity as well. And I think that the Parks Department's going to start to get some phone calls from concerned neighbors about this activity. Every time I go out there, even today, I'm running across single adult males just wandering around with their cell phones, waiting for the opportunity to conduct some activity. They're all very nice. I don't have any problems with them, but I have to pick up what they leave behind. I'm thinking that there's even some activity that goes on there at night as well. They're parking on 46th Avenue near 84th, and they're also parking in about the 4800 block of 84th Street, and they just go in to the meadow area or the wooded area just on the north side of 84th, or come in from the west side on 46. And I've relayed that information to my contact person with Pierce County Parks. So when I get back, if there's quite a bit to be done at Orange Gate, I may have to choose between Orange Gate litter pickup and the Waller Road, Doctor Road pickup on the 24th. So I'll just have to wait and see how that works out. So that the box truck that was been there for over a month, that's now gone. With the help of one of our local residents. Yeah, the illegal dumping and the litter has just increased. In fact, I never picked up so much litter over the weekend. I don't think I've picked up that much litter in 30 years at Orange Gate. So
Okay.
I can always use some help, and if we get back, I think I'm going to talk with a couple of neighborhood watch groups around here and see if I can't get more local citizens to agree to pick up litter to help out a bit. So that's what I have so far.
So Larry, on that 24th of the Adopter Road, would
Yeah.
you, if I can get a group out there, would you like a group to meet you at Orange Gate Park like we did a couple of years ago and go in and help clean up? Because I
Oh, that
don't
would
know
be
if I'll
great.
have a group, but I might.
Okay, I'll check back with you when I get back.
All right, let's do that then.
Okay.
Okay.
My only question, so Larry, I know that Barbara's on Facebook. I don't know if you are or not, but if you go into the Facebook group, you can always ask for people to come and help out. A lot of people might not even realize that there's a need for additional hands-on to clean up the park. And being on site, taking a few pictures, going, this is what's being left around the park. It'd be great if some people would come out and help and just quickly point out where they can drop the trash and bags so it gets picked up by the Parks Department.
I love
Yeah.
that idea.
Yeah, I'll experiment with that when I get back.
I tell you what, Larry. Tell you what, if you send me some pictures of the trash that you've found, like, or next time you see some, take some pictures, send those to me. And if you want to do a little write-up, you can do that and I'll post it on your behalf.
Oh, okay.
That way you
I
don't
don't-
have to join Facebook.
Oh, right. If you're not on Facebook, then that makes sense. Yeah. Thanks, Angela. But
Well,
at the same
I-
time, whatever you write, keep it very short. It's got to be very brief. Online, it
Yeah.
loses their attention.
Right. Angela, I appreciate that very much. I probably won't have pictures until after I get back
That's fine.
because,
That's fine.
Yeah.
But I'd be willing to help out with that. And then also we could put it on Nextdoor as well. And potentially even some of the other neighborhood groups like Midland Matters and the North Clover Creek Collins group too. We could consider reaching out to them as well because they may not live right next to it, but they might use it. So
sure, yeah,
And
okay.
who knows, maybe Dawn and I will walk the dogs through the park and take pictures for you while you're on vacation. My dog's ready to walk now, Dawn.
Good, bring it on.
She's cleared. Okay. So let's go to current business. Adopt a Road cleanup is Saturday, September 4th, starting at 9.
September
And
24th.
September 24th, starting at 9. John?
Yeah.
Did you have anything you wanted to add, or is it not anything?
No, I think, I don't know if anybody, I know that Gabe's busy, Angela's busy. I don't know if anybody wants to do a share on Saturday, Friday. I usually do mine on Friday, so I'm available on Saturday.
Mhm.
Anyway, just an option. I'll have the equipment on Friday, actually Thursday.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's all that I would have to say. I don't know, there's something about lunch on there. I don't,
Yeah, that's my part.
yeah, okay, go ahead.
So I scheduled my church's service Saturday for the same day, like I've been doing for the past few years to coordinate with the Adopter Road, which is why I'm hoping that maybe we can send a group out to Orange Gate Park. And then the outreach committee actually volunteered to do lunch for any volunteers that in the neighborhood who got out and helped clean up. And I'm not even in charge of buying the lunch this time. I'm just in charge of putting it on Facebook and letting you know that that's what they wanted to do for anyone who volunteered with the
Okay.
cleanup.
Well, whoever shows up, then I will tell them.
Yeah, I maybe can print up some flyers as well. But I thought that was nice of the group.
Yeah,
We
very
we
nice.
did it before a couple years ago, but and it was my idea then, but this time it actually wasn't my idea. Somebody else said they'd like to do that again. So I was happy.
Yep, sounds good.
And then I think I just wrote repost in separate. I think that's what we were talking about. I realized I don't sound great in that incomplete sentence fragment. I just meant repost in a separate deal on Facebook so that that information was available to people who volunteered.
Yeah, I
And-
think I usually I'll make it an actual event that invites all of the members of the group, and I'll make
Mhm.
sure to mention that lunch is in there.
Okay. All right. And then B, Pierce County Comprehensive Plan. I don't know who wanted to take that.
Jan,
Yes.
is Marty Campbell online?
Marty, are you there?
I
He's
don't
there.
hear- Hello, Marty, are you there?
I am doing a little double tasking here with another event that I have going on down here. So back and forth between the two. So
How you doing, Marty?
doing good.
Just a question. It came up on our agenda on the status of the Pierce County Comprehensive Plan. Do you have any information that you can share with the community, with our group here?
Other than I know we're doing work on it next year, I don't have timelines, but I can look those up and get back to you on it. I know that it's on some of the work that we're doing, but I didn't do my research before, and I don't want to talk out of turn.
Right, I understand. I guess our concern would be the rural separator, how it's being perceived by the county council, by the planning commission. Are there any things going on that we need to know about? Could you please alert us if there's anything going on with the plan update that we would relate to the rural separator? Any major plan amendments of any type? Could you do that for us, please?
I will absolutely be tracking that in it. So
Yeah, you're the guy to track it. You're right on top of it. So we'd appreciate that. While I have you on the line here, Marty, I do have a question for you. Over there at 64th Street and Pipeline, there's an encampment started there.
Yep.
What can we do about that? It's right on the new pipeline trail and the adjacent property. In fact, I wrote a grant for that back in the 80s to bring that property into Swan Creek Park. So there's encampments on Swan Creek Park and right next to the pipeline trail.
well, there's an access road between the encampment and the pipeline trail.
Okay.
But fully aware of it. City of Tacoma is fully aware of it. Metro Park's fully aware of it. They've been out meeting with them and working on getting them to another site, another stabilized site or something like that.
This one's a
So
little,
fully on the radar.
okay, good. This is a little different. They've got a lot of propane containers sitting out there. I haven't seen them cooking meth. I don't want to know how to cook it anyway, but I have smelled some weird stuff out there. It smells suspicious. Maybe it's my imagination. I don't know, but I think they're doing more than cooking hot dogs. Okay. So I think it's kind of an urgency. You got pipeline trail, a lot of kids running along there with their tricycles and bicycles and mamas and dads. Swan Creek Park, and then garbage along there. And I would like to ask or notify the board members, if you want to, dial 311. And you can report it to the city. That was the mechanism that we used to get the Pioneer Way cleaned up last year. If you go look at the site along 64th and Pipeline Road, and then at your own pleasure, call 311 and lodge your concern.
Yes, it's a red tent that's set up. They have some more down over the edge.
Oh, yeah.
Also working on getting some blocked up in some of those areas where there's some residual dumping. I know that they've hauled some trash out of there, and there was 4 or 5 encampments in there. I know 2 have moved on.
We're at Marty.
Swan Creek,
Which one?
the one you're talking about.
64th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about the area 64th and Pipeline. So
Right.
yeah, we've moved some out and working with the others.
Okay, thank you. Thank you a lot. I know the neighbors out there don't like it, and I'm glad you're on top of it, Marty. Thank you.
Dan, do you know where I live?
In the encampment area?
64th and Pipeline.
Is it?
Dan,
I can't see it out my window. I can see the flashing beacon out my window though.
You're not one of those tents, I hope. That was a joke.
Not
Dan.
yet, but gas keeps going where it's at. Who knows?
You're right there in the corner.
What?
You're
No,
right there-
I'm not right on the corner, but I can visually see it. So
Well,
Um,
it's a funny thing, when I was going to Waller Road School back in the 60s, a lot of kids that lived within the city of Tacoma on Pipeline Road actually went to Waller Road School, even though they were in the Tacoma School District. So Pipeline is an integral part of our community.
hey, I need to step away for a moment. I'll be back in about a minute, 30 seconds to a minute.
Thanks, Marty.
Okay. All right, so,
Don
We
had a
already-
question.
oh, Don, sorry.
Can you hear me? That's my first question.
What was the first question?
Can you hear him?
We hear you.
am I
We hear you.
audible?
Tom.
That's what I'm asking.
But you're
You're
faint, but we
audible.
can hear you.
Barely.
Okay, online, if you follow the mysterious links, there is a public questionnaire available, pick your poison on the Pierce County Comprehensive Plan, that there is an active questionnaire that's available to the public.
I saw that.
I was going to ask if we wanted to submit a letter on behalf of the board, or if we were going to encourage people to just comment individually.
Could I comment on that, please? Angela, you have written some letters before related to the county on SEPA issues. You recently sent a letter to our illustrious state representative requesting updates on this study. Could you prepare a letter to do that? I don't think I would know how to do it properly.
I could take a stab at it. I'll have to look at the materials again. I know that they have a SEPA determination of significance that we could comment on. And I think they have the, I don't know if it's a survey. Is it a questionnaire? Dawn, have you looked at it?
Yeah, I filled it out and submitted it.
Okay.
Maybe 15, 20 questions with multiple choice answers.
Okay, so that might be something we could each do as individuals, but if there's an option to send in a letter, then we could do that with focus on the rural separator.
Yes.
I know that there are no updates to any of the community plans proposed as part of this. But your question, Dan, is very specific to the rural separator. And so maybe we just want to highlight some of those points that we've highlighted in previous letters. I mean, maybe we can recycle some of the information that we've already sent before. So I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, just let them know that we're alive and kicking out here. That's the main thing.
If we can get a campaign on Facebook for everybody that's actually on there to try to get them at least as many as possible to individually submit their take on protecting the rural separator, would probably be more effective than just a single association group people of 12 people or 10 people.
Sometimes that can backfire. You'll get a lot of trolls on there that may say, hey, I don't like these people. Let's give an adverse comment on rural separator. You might want to leave sleeping dogs lie sometimes. But I'm not the one to say to do that or not. It's not my choice. Do what you want.
Does anyone
Well, it
else have
sounds like it. Yeah, it sounds like at this point that each individual board member is encouraged to fill out that questionnaire,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
Angela will take a look and see whether a letter from some of our community association might be appropriate.
I
If you
think
want
that
to
sounds
put it-
like a good plan of action. Dan, what were you saying?
If you want to put it on Facebook, that's fine. I just, I don't do Facebook, so I don't like the forum, but whatever you folks want to do, Facebook's fine, I guess. In my
That's where we're gonna reach the most people
Sure,
in the community.
that's
Well,
fine.
somebody already shared the link. And I can do it again too. I can just share Pierce County Planning and Public Works post. And I can share it to our group with a, a call to action for people to go in and actually fill out the survey or the comment letter, or survey or questionnaire. And then again, I'll take a look and see if it's worth us as an organization writing a letter as well during this comment period. So I'll do
Dawn.
that.
Well, one of the things that I saw in the questionnaire was quite a few questions dealing with transportation.
Mhm.
And one of my questions, I don't know if I brought it up in the email that I sent, is the cross-base corridor as a key to alleviating transportation issues
Mhm.
from the Canyon 512 intersection.
I saw that.
Yeah, they canceled it because of funding issues and other things. Well, they don't define what other things are, and I would certainly like to know what they are. What is the military, bowed their neck on the position? What are the traffic studies indicate on southbound traffic and northbound traffic into and out of Frederickson?
I think a lot of the focus has shifted to the Northern Canyon Road Extension Project. I think that was one of Executive Dan Meyer's preferences to see more investments made there. At least that's my understanding, but they don't, that project is not fully funded. Even though they took away funding from these other projects and put it there, they still don't have enough to meet the full price tag for getting that one done. But I think that's kind of where those monies have been shifted. Dawn, is instead of those further south Canyon Road pieces, it's more the northerly connection that's been the focus.
And the county just advertised for a group to sign a contract to deal with property owners in the northern part of the Canyon Road extension to
Mhm.
acquire property, acquire right of way. So they're moving ahead on at least one front there.
Yeah.
So the public input for the comprehensive plan, I sent a link to all of you. There's a link that's to their webpage where you can actually click to submit your public comments. So look for that in your email.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thanks, Gabe.
Thank you.
Gabe, that'll be on Facebook and also on our website.
It's already been posted to our Facebook page by somebody, not an admin. So this a
Mhm.
public member actually did that. So that's already done.
Now, I had a question on that. Will the questionnaire allow people to comment on also the traffic issues too?
I haven't looked at the survey, so I'd have to take a look at it.
There are questions regarding traffic and bus routes and whether it serves you, whether you want to see expanded, etc. So I don't know if that answers your question, but
Yeah.
it's dealt with quite a bit.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So was there anything else we wanted to say about the plan, or should we move on?
I've got a little miscellaneous thing to say.
Okay.
Canyon Rim is still pending. That's all I got to
Okay.
say.
All right, Canyon Room still pending. So one of the things that you asked me to do was to come up with an email contact list of everyone who is a member of the Summit Waller Community Association. And I finished that the best way I knew how to do it. So I have the ability to have, so I have basically used Outlook and I created a group and I sat there and cut and pasted every last person's email. It took me a little bit of time, but it's done. So we want to send that comprehensive plan link out to all of our members. We could. I just don't know how to get that link or those I'm stymied as to how to copy. I tried to do an export and it exported every last contact I ever had. So I deleted that because you don't need all my contacts. And it wasn't in a format where you could use them. So maybe somebody who has a little bit more Outlook savviness can walk me through that. The only other thing I can think of is to blind copy it to you all, so that everyone has that list, but I don't know how that would work for you to use the list. So that's where I'm at on that.
So as far as
And-
lists go in Outlook, I actually do tech support for lots of people using Outlook. So it's a blessing and a curse, that program. But
How
If-
how many people are on your list? Sorry.
I had, what was the final number?
Plus or minus, just.
Plus or
rough.
minus, let's say about 140.
okay, so if I can get that list, I can work with you on how to get that exported with filtering only by the ones that are in that group.
Okay,
We'll have to set up a time to do that, and then I can just remotely connect to your computer and just do it. And then we can take that list and use it for other things like
Mhm.
mailers and things like that. But the first one that we send out should actually be an opt-in for anything additional.
mhm.
So if we want to send
Mhm.
things like comprehensive plan things, which is kind of a little bit outside of the thing. I just don't want people feel like we're hitting them up too often for information.
Right,
Because they didn't opt in or out of anything. So it's just, they gave us an
Yeah.
email address. We have to be respectful of the fact that they have that email address in our hands.
mhm.
And so
Agreed.
I can work with you on that. And I'm also very familiar with the Can Spam Act stuff. I've had to help a lot of companies stop spamming because they think it's okay to just email people over and over and over again. And it's the worst thing it can do for an organization is to misuse people's email address.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think we're all in agreement on that. All right, so we will set up a time later and I'll report back next meeting or in between meetings and get the contact list out to everyone. And then did Gabe get his Zoom use payment? I just wanted to make sure he's,
No, we haven't actually talked about it either. So
oh, I thought that was on the last meeting and that you had.
it was, we hadn't actually talked, Russ and I had not talked about it yet. So
Okay, so that
Yeah.
still needs to happen.
yeah, I wasn't here for the last meeting, so I'm not sure what happened. Yeah. Oh, sorry, that was 2 meetings ago. Sorry.
Mhm. We did all agree
Yes.
that you should be paid to use your Zoom account on the months that we're not meeting in person, which is basically a 1-year subscription. So we did all approve that. So we
Yeah.
want to, and you insisted that it was moving forward only and no back payment, which
Right.
we will respect, even though we'd love to
Okay.
pay you for your previous.
No, I
Expenses.
donated that. That was fine. I just want to make
Okay.
sure that, I talked to Russell and make sure it's all worked out so we can get it done streamlined.
Okay, well, I will text or contact Russell and ask him to, I'll just refer to the minute saying this was approved. Would you contact Gabe and get that set up? So
Okay,
I'll put that
yeah.
on my to-do list.
It's not a rush, but yeah, that's cool.
All right,
Jen, did we skip over board position? Letter
Oh.
number C.
not
6.
really skipped it because I sort of thought we addressed it when we were talking about the media up above on number 4, but we could go back to it.
But we
Oh,
haven't had-
okay. Yeah, I think, yeah, I made a note to, Angela to, post on Facebook about this.
Was
Thank
there
you
anything
for-
else we needed to do other
No.
than that?
I don't think so. Maybe I'll consider doing it on Nextdoor too.
Okay,
I do
Okay.
like the idea of considering reaching out to tribal members or someone active in the Puyallup tribe to also then be on our board as well. So we do have several tribal members that are members of the Summit Waller Community Facebook group. But I wouldn't know where else to reach out to get any traction on them helping posting something. So we'll start with Facebook and see where we get.
Okay. So F, upcoming Puyallup tribe meeting. Marty was going to take this one. If he's back.
I'm back. I saw a hand up there real quick. Was that Larry or Don?
That was me. I would just want to make one quick point, and that is that if any of you know of a neighbor or a person that you could approach personally, encouraging them to apply to be a board member, that always works well too.
Right.
Great. Let me ask you a clarifying question as I'm taking notes. Jen, you're currently interim president through the end of the year. That was your agreed upon terms when you started. Do we want to advertise that we have a open president position starting in January, or is this something that you want to continue in? And then we also have, let's see, technically we have a board, one alternate and another board member vacant as well, right? Is that correct?
Right. So
you don't have to answer now, but
No,
I'm just trying to think. I'm just trying to think if, I want to let people know what position specifically we do have open. So
I feel that you all have been really supportive. Even Marty's assistant Chelsea has reached out and helped give support in every single person in this room. And I'm feeling a lot more comfortable. I have to say it's growing on me. If you wanted me to continue, I figure I would, I guess, if you think I'm doing a good enough job.
You're doing an outstanding job.
I'm trying. I can say
would
that
like to
I'm
point out-
trying.
I'd just like to point out that we have one board position opening and at least one alternate position open.
Okay.
It might be worth when you go to put on Facebook about a board opening, maybe just to spell it out, we're really looking for someone who is Puyallup tribal connected to serve on the board to help us in that, and be specific rather than putting it out there and hoping one applies. Putting it out there with intentionality, one of them might be, oh, yeah. So I think that's a good start there.
Yeah, I agree. Specific is terrific, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've done that for school districts as well. We were kind of hoping that someone with connections to either school district would be interested in joining. And we reached out, last administration, but didn't get anywhere. So, but this might be another chance for us to be more specific since we do have the two openings. I think it'd be helpful to have
Thank you.
someone education focused and tribal focused. I think it'd be helpful. So.
There's the Starbucks. Yay.
That's right. My daughter just got off work. She spoils me.
Yeah, put on there, Puyallup tribe, someone from a local school district, or other, maybe list just a couple areas where you're looking for some focus, and maybe that'll encourage someone to engage.
Great.
So
thanks.
So Puyallup tribe next meeting coming up, and we haven't scheduled it yet. Now, how long has Summit Waller Group been around?
93, 94?
94.
93.
93.
No, 90.
Coming right up on your
90.
30-year anniversary. And I know that there's never been a really well-established relationship with the Puyallup tribe, or any such formalized one. So it's not going to happen in one meeting. It's probably not going to happen within 3 meetings. And so working with Jen, we had a really good first meeting. It got, because the schedules got moved around a lot, ended up being virtually, have not had that chance to have a kind of person to person sit down. You know me, you see me, you feel me. I am here. I'm committed to listening. I'm committed to talking, and that trust building that I think we really need to work on getting there, because it's not just going to be overnight where it's suddenly rolled in. It's for them, the Puyallup tribe. Look at where they were 30 years ago, and where they're at today is totally different. And so they're growing. They're trying to figure stuff out. I began dialogue with them about starting a community liaison person that might attend meetings like this in Northeast Tacoma and other parts around their reservation and around the city, not just government relations, but a community relation. Because when they talk about government relations, they talk to the federal government, sometimes the state, but mostly the federal government. We're pretty far down that line as far as, it's like having a relationship with Canada. It's another nation. But if we're up on the Canadian border, there's a good chance that we would have some communication with them, right? So we're going to continue to work on it, getting that built and built forth so that we can have a pathway to discuss past issues, current issues, future issues, get a heads up on things that might be coming down, but mostly build that relation. And that's why I think getting a member on the board would be good. They're growing, transforming, and so we just need to find a way to get in there and get engaged. One thing of note that may help is we recently appointed a new council member, Paul Herrera, for District 1, which is actually in Puyallup, so he doesn't cover part of Summit Waller. He was a Puyallup tribal police officer for 25 years. Worked with local fisheries department, has really worked through the Summit Waller area a lot. So is familiar with many of the issues through it. And I'm able to talk with him about some of the things that we really see on a day in and day out measure on that.
Thank you.
Yes, Dan.
I've got letters in my file going back to 1976, 77 through early 80s from Ramona Bennett when she was the chairwoman of the Puyallup tribe, working with our community on fisheries out here. We worked with John Bell, Mr. Sabota of the Puyallup Fisheries, and a number of different people on fishery issues out here in the Clear Creek watershed, specifically Swan Creek Park. So yes, while they've really come a long ways in 30 years, they were active in our community in the 70s. And when I was a box boy at Piggly Wiggly back in the 60s, I knew him then, and that was before Judge Bolt and the fish wars. And back then, of course, they were in some dire straits. And of course, it's gone 360 now. They're 180 now. They're totally different. But Marty, if you could, and you and Jen are doing a marvelous job. If you could get some communication between the tribe and our community, and of course Pierce County, be it the Northeast Tacoma, Summit Waller, whatever, that would be something that's been a long time coming. We had a relationship back in the 70s with the chairwoman Ramona Bennett, a few others, but I think that they've kind of lost track of us. We need to recapture that. So thank you, Marty and Jen, for your work.
You remind me on Swan Creek, I was attending some of the environmental remediation and work that we're doing around flood control and stream restoration, salmon flow. And Swan Creek has become too channelized and the water's moving too fast. So they're going to slow it down by placing some logs in it and some like dropping old trees across it. Now, if you're familiar with Swan Creek, a lot of that area you can't get into. They'll be bringing them in by helicopter. And I think they'll be in 2023. So be over a year out, maybe even more. But yeah, there'll be a 3-week period where we're gonna have helicopters coming in carrying trees to drop them into the Swan Creek.
It's
blow the
gonna
water flow
be,
down.
it's gonna be epic. Everyone's excited.
I want to see, let it be said, when I was a young guy, in very good physical condition, I put a number of logs across Swan Creek with the Eagle Scout program, so this is nothing new. We didn't
Yes,
use
they
helicopters.
may have washed away by now.
They rotted away by now.
I didn't want to say that. I just washed.
I want you to email when the helicopters, when you know the dates, because I've got a bunch of boys who are going to want to see that.
Yeah, I mean, there'll be media outreach on it before, so
Oh, for sure.
definitely up and down, so people aren't like, they're taking trees out of Swan Creek. No, they're bringing them in.
Yeah, Facebook will be a light for sure.
Yeah.
I should volunteer some of my trees. I have enough of them.
Oh, real
Okay.
quick, Marty, real quick, who's sponsoring that particular thing? Is that state, county, or is the tribe involved?
It's state and county, probably some federal funding. You know, we'll pull it wherever we need to. Counties overseeing it because it's in Swan Creek, in consultation with the Puyallup tribe. I mean,
Yeah,
well,
keep-
they'll have to sign off on the plan before we do it, but they've got a really active fisheries department that has probably been in the crafting of it. But
Yes.
ultimately, it'll be Pierce County Flood Control's responsibility.
Yeah, my last comment, if you go down there during November, December, I don't know exactly when, they have a program, Sue Bernstein, I think her name is, she's involved with it, the Puyallup tribe. It's called a welcome home party, where they welcome the salmon coming back to spawn. And you go down there in Swan Creek, you'll see that place just littered with sometimes hundreds of salmon.
Mm.
So it's an active spawning stream.
Oh yeah,
Wo-
that's why we want to make it more. They've actually got little like transponders on the where Swan Creek goes in, or the one up from it. There's kind of like a big brackish area, and so they sometimes will tag fish and let them go, and then watch these different tributaries up and down the river. And like they had a bull trout go in there, and they're like, they thought something had happened to it, and it sat in there for 30 days before it came back out. So they're able to track how long the fish are, you know, if they're swimming up, if they go in there, how long they're in there, all kinds of, you know, the science and data that they have is just amazing.
And who's doing that? The Puyallup tribe?
No, that's again part of, I think that's part of Pierce County, you know, our restoration work.
Right, okay.
Would the board be interested in having the project manager for the Swan Creek work come present to the board on that
Mm.
project? Would that be of
would.
interest?
Yeah,
Yeah.
ideally for an in-person, or the in-person meetings.
Let me talk to the PM. His name is David, and he is a super nice guy. And I will see what the timing is, because I'm guessing we could meet with them now, and then it's like a year and a half from now before they go to construction. So it might not be now, but maybe we can time it so as they get closer to construction, then they can brief us on kind of what's going to happen and what we should expect. So let me do that. And taking some notes. Talk to us. Okay.
All right. Does anyone else have anything about Swan Creek tribal meeting? Questions, comments, suggestions, thoughts? All right. Thank you so much, Marty.
Oh, certainly. Thank you
Appreciate
for
it.
your help and work.
Thanks, Marty.
All right, Larry, are we getting those t-shirts?
Oh,
Christmas maybe?
okay, I'll write that down.
All
I
right.
hadn't done anything with that, but you got me rethinking about that. I'll see what I can do.
We were also, I didn't add it, but it was t-shirts and a banner for when we had activities such as Adopt a Road, meetings. We were talking about getting banners.
We have a big banner already.
One, didn't we talk about, I have to go look at the meeting notes, but didn't we discuss getting some, maybe for some different areas? to
Yeah,
put
I
up
think
with
we talked
it?
about getting some of the, maybe some of the smaller ones, like the one that we put on the outside of the community center. But
Mhm.
instead, you know, it having, it's very silly, a canned community meeting
Right?
hosted by
Or
Summit Waller or something.
community project. I mean, I
Mhm.
think it'd be great to have a few of them for when we have the Adopt a Road or pipeline, whatever projects we're working on, to say this is coming up this weekend.
Yeah.
Um, Check the Facebook page for details or something like that.
Maybe I could work with a few of you on where I would go and what sort of messages we should have on them and what they
Okay.
should look like.
I actually have a few
Alright.
contacts that I might be able to reach out to about for vendors to actually do the printing on materials, t-shirts.
Mhm.
I think I know of a couple of screening shops, print screen shops that could do that. But for the actual like corrugated plastic things you're talking about, Angela, for the advertising of the community meetings,
Mhm.
that there's another company I think that I think they do those too. That I'm
We
aware of.
can use Visi printing for that too.
Busy printing, okay.
Yeah, they do that. They do vinyl banners, corrugated plastic ones. Yeah, all
That's our
that stuff.
newsletter
Yeah.
provider, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, they do. They'll print anything, t-shirts, signs, car wraps,
Yeah,
whatever.
let's go
they'll do
local
it
as
all.
often as we can here for sure.
Yeah.
So what would you
Alright.
think of, let's say a t-shirt, let's say that's blue with white lettering that might have our logo on the front, you know, small, and then on the back, have it larger with the word volunteer.
Yeah.
I don't like logos on the front of my shirts.
Even just a small rounded one
I
right
don't.
on the.
Yeah,
Okay, wait a minute, Angela, can you stand
Oh.
up just a tiny bit?
Yeah,
I think yours is okay. Okay, yeah, that kind of logo that kind of goes across is fine. But if it's a small little circle on one particular side of a shirt, I will not wear it. I don't like those
I
kinds of.
think I understand. So,
Okay.
so if we could do one across the front center, and I could actually tweak our existing logo with the swan in it, and actually put the Summit Waller across the center, like Angela's shirt is doing right now, or sweater. I can't tell if that's
Okay.
shirt,
It's
yeah.
a t-shirt.
So it's a round logo with writing through the center.
Mhm.
So I could do that in the front, and then the back with volunteer. Let me see about who I can reach out to for that type of stuff. Okay.
Okay.
I know that
Right, so-
Visi printing, like if you have a design already, because I just did this recently for a personal thing. It's about $15 a shirt plus the first one-time setup. And the first one-time setup is like $25 or something, and then it's $15 per shirt. So that's about what you're looking at least. That was the quote I got a couple of months ago. So,
Okay.
and if
Well,
it's just one color, that's even cheaper. And if it's cheap, the cheaper the t-shirt, the cheaper the price. But obviously, yeah, you go 100% cotton or you do a blend or whatever. Kind of depends on the pricing, but
it's not like we don't have the money.
Right. Excuse me, just a moment.
And we'll
Yeah,
always have the
if
money.
VisiPrint does it, then yeah, let's stick with them for sure. I mean, unless there's another company local that we want to try out. Are they the ones over there near Golden Given?
they're at the end of Portland Avenue and 112th,
Okay,
kind of behind the physical therapy place. There's some garages or industrial kind of buildings there. They're in there.
yeah, there's another one that's right next to the on 112th as well, right at where Golden Given dead ends almost, between the Golden Given dead end on 112th and I think it's I want to say it's a LDS church.
Right. Mhm. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there's another print place there too. So okay.
Okay.
Comparative pricing, see who gives us the better
Right.
deal. Any
think there'll always-
announcements? Oh, sorry, go
There'll al-
ahead.
There'll always be money for the shirts.
Anything else, or announcements?
I just want to announce my appreciation for Larry doing all the hard work at Orange Gate.
Oh,
And
thanks, Dan.
Here, here.
Yeah, yeah. And you folks, you know who you are, who's been working on the website and Facebook. That's much appreciated by a lot of people.
Well, I would just like to say thanks, Dan. My enthusiasm about doing this is, myself and others in the community association helped create Orange Gate Park. And so a little bit of stewardship is important. Until we get in 2024, 2023 and 2024 with the pipeline trail construction and some of the amenities going into Orange Gate Park in 2024 will reduce the amount of litter that the Parks Department and community members will have to spend keeping it looking nice.
Yeah,
Mm.
just a 15-second memory lane here. Back in the 90s, I believe it was, back in my law school days, you and I and Dennis Young, we were in at my place. We sat around at the table. We drafted that letter to DNR to bring Orange Gate into county ownership.
Yep.
So you've been at this a long time, Larry.
Yeah. Ever since the 70s.
Was it the 70s?
Well, I moved into the area
Oh, yeah, yeah.
in 72 and DNR land was right across the street. So, started picking up litter then. And then of course, when then Dennis Young and others, we decided to help DNR clean up at least the North 40 after Mr. Wisney died and his house was demoed and he no longer had an agreement with DNR, lifetime agreement. So that property was now vacant. And so, yeah, we started filling up dumpsters with cleaning up the North 40 and then expanded to across 84th. And yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, Larry. That's all I have to say.
All right, before I adjourn us, I would like to, I had one thing I wanted to say, and one thing that I just thought of that I'd just like to discuss, but I'd like it to be off the record. So after we adjourn, if anyone wants to hang out for a couple minutes, and it has to do with Orange Gate Park.
Okay.
And if there's nothing else, then our meeting is adjourned.